everybody, welcome back to another Dice Tower review. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
Today we're taking a look at Forest Sky Here card game from Button Shy Games, in which you are collecting the right kinds of birds using their scoring opportunities to score your hand. But you have to manage the hand you're holding and a pile on the table that you'll be using towards your own scoring. And of course you can manipulate all of that. Let me give you a look at how the game works. We'll come right back and give you some final thoughts. To set up the game, we're going to shuffle up the deck of cards here. We're going to put that on the table, and everybody gets dealt 3 cards from it. Here, we'll take a look at a game for 2 players only. So I have my hand of cards over here. My opponent has theirs, and then we are ready to go. So our hand counts as the sky. If anything references the sky, it's the 3 cards in your hand. And then here we've got the deck, a discard pile that will form above it, and then 2 areas next to it that are going to be called the forest. And at the end of the game, you are going to be scoring the sky, your hand, plus one of the 2 forests that is forming. So what I'm doing is, on your turn, you're going to take one of 3 actions. And this is going to continue until the end game trigger happens, and then we score up. So the options are as follows. The first thing you can do is you can draw and place. Drawing and placing is very simple. You're going to draw a card from the deck or the top card of the discard pile. You're going to add that to your hand. And this is what my hand looks like right now. And then I am going to take one of these and place it into one of the 2 forests. If the 2 forests both have 3 cards already, meaning they are full, then I simply discard the card like so, face up, all right? But for now, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. And what I'm trying to do here is I need to keep in hand some cards that I am going to utilize, not just the suit, which is, hawk or crow, and the number, so 4 of hawks, and this is the entire, set that is available of hawks. But I'm also worrying about the scoring opportunity at the top, because the 3 cards in hand are the ones I'm going to be using to score with. I'm using the writing on those, as well as, again, the suit and the number, yes, to score, and I'm going to be combining that with a forest, one of the 3 sets of cards on the table, but I'm not using the scoring opportunity on those cards in the forest, just their color and their value. So I'm taking a look at here, and it says score 5 points if none of your other cards have a lower value. Okay, that's possible. It's a pretty low card already, so that's pretty good. I might want to hang on to that. This is score 12 points if you have 2 triplets. Very difficult, but maybe with this 4 and maybe this 4, maybe I could get 2 7s and another 4. That could happen. Score 7 points if you have 2 pairs. That's a little bit easier. So I think what I'm going to do is, from these 3, I would leave this in the forest, like so. And then, again, I drew and I placed one out here. Then it's my opponent's turn. My opponent has, again, an option they have to make among 3 things. I've explained one, draw and place. The second option is swap. You are allowed to take a card from one of the forests that is unlocked, and I'll come back to that in 1 second, and swap it with one of the ones in your hand. Maybe my opponent really wants this, score 12 points if you have 2 triplets, and they swap. They could pick this up and leave one in its place, okay? If not, maybe they'll do another draw and place. They'll draw a card here, and they are going to place this. It can go into whichever one they want. They can go into the other forest or the same forest. It's up to them. So they will do that one. And then it comes back to me. The third and final option I have, instead of draw and place or swap one, is I can lock a card in a forest. And locking a card is very simply marking this. You can turn it sideways, you can do whatever, to mark that it can no longer be taken and that it is a locked card on the table. The end game trigger is going to happen when 5 of these 6 cards that are going to be out here are locked. As soon as the 5th card is locked, the game is over, and we are going to score using the 3 cards we have in hand and the 3 in one of the 2 forests. So I'm going to go ahead and jump forward to that point and show you how scoring would go for a hand of cards in the game here. So it is near the end of the game. It is my turn over here, and on my turn, what I'm going to do is lock one of the cards out in the forests here. I'm going to be locking this card so it cannot be taken, but it really doesn't matter. It's the 5th card lock, 3, 4, 5. So the game is over and we go right into scoring. So if I was going to score my hand, for example, I'm going to be using these 3 scoring opportunities and one of the 2 forests. The one I want to score with is this one. And again, all the players around the table can choose whichever one of the 2 they want freely. I'm not claiming this one for myself. It's just one of the 2 available. So I'm going to go ahead and move these over here so that we can take a look at what I'm doing here. So my scoring opportunities are as follows. Score 7 points if you have 2 pairs. Let's take a look. I have a 4 and a 4. I have a 7 and a 7. That's 2 pairs. So I'm getting 7 points for that. So I have 7 points. This card gives me 7 points. This one over here says score 5 points if none of your other cards have a lower value. Let's take a look. So this is a 4. 5, a 7, 4. Nope, none of the other ones have a lower value, so I'm getting those 5 points. I'm up to 12 points with that. And then this one says score 6 points if you have exactly 3 types of birds. Well, I do. Owls, hawks, and crows. So I'm also getting those 6 points. So my total then would be 18. I have 18 points. And then my opponent would do the same thing with their 3 scoring opportunities on either this forest or this one, and see if they can beat me. That is how the game works. That's pretty much it. Hopefully that gives you a good overview and flow of how the whole thing works. Let's go ahead and go back up top. All right, so there you go. As always, I always find myself a little bit fascinated by button-shy games and the kinds of concepts they can squeeze into a little wallet game here with 18 cards or so. And this is another one that I found really interesting. The idea is this concept, and it's a fairly common one when you only have 18 cards, this idea of every card pulling double, triple duty. You know, and this one, same thing, right? Every card is the bird, a value, like a suited card, right? And then, of course, a scoring opportunity that you have to consider if you can pull off. I really like also the look, and we should probably start there. I think this is a really neat looking game. Great quality of the cards, and the artwork on the birds, and the whole look is just very relaxing. It's a beautiful game.
Right, I think that's actually what drew me in first of all. You know, I mean, I am more of the shallow gamer part, but just but I think just the art alone of this is absolutely gorgeous. And I think it's a neat design too, because there are so few different kinds of birds, but yet they all look pretty unique at the same time. I think they went with a very simple color palette, which just kind of, I don't know, just gave it a very pleasing, relaxing kind of feel to it. It's a limited color palette, kind of minimalistic art style, but yet unique and individual at the same time.
It's easy to read, easy to see what you're looking at, and the colors are, again, sort of on the soothing side of what they could have gone with, which was very bright, very alarmist, right? I find it to be generally an easygoing feeling kind of game.
Right.
The gameplay does not necessarily feel that way, I would say, actually. I think the gameplay can be very... There's a lot of analysis paralysis in this game. It's a very, I don't know if I would say thought-provoking necessarily, but it's the kind of game that you can definitely get locked up in what you cannot do, want to do.
Right.
So I don't know if I would necessarily say it's a great relaxing game. I don't think it is.
No.
I think it's actually probably the exact opposite of that. It's the kind of game you're going to start chewing on your nails with.
Right. Yeah, no, it definitely is more tense. It has that look of being relaxing, but then when you start playing, it has a unique mix of push your luck, you know, do I go one more time or do I go ahead and lock that card in? And also just trying to maximize your efficiency in a very short period of time. You know, I mean, the whole game is a ticking clock, right? And you feel that time clicking, that deck getting shorter and shorter, that forest filling up, and really trying to maintain that balance of don't take what I need. I need to switch this card out, but I also, if I do that, I need to make sure that one doesn't go away. So maintaining that balance of when to take which action causes a lot of tension. You know.
No, I agree. I find it to be very tense. I think the game... I think it scales pretty well. I don't know if you'll agree with me there or not. I think with 2 players, yes, you've mentioned this, where it kind of devolves. I don't know if devolve is really the right word, but it kind of becomes your force, my force, and that becomes kind of apparent fairly quickly. I'm like, oh, I'm manipulating this one a bunch. You must be utilizing that force.
Right.
and then the other player sort of defaults to taking the other one, unless you can both score off the same one, I suppose.
Right.
With more players, say with 3 players, then you have to share someone's forest.
Yeah.
Like you are using someone else's, and they're using that one too, and so there's an interesting dynamic there. This sort of weird semi-cooperation. Unfortunately, like screwing someone over without meaning to, just because you're going for your own thing. And so at that point, you're like, "Oh no, that went away." Then we look at the other forest. What can I make work with this?
Right.
You know, it does. I do think people who don't like the kinds of games that make you feel like you're given a bunch of stuff and told, make the best you can out of this. Like people who hate the lesser of two evils kind of games are not going to like this, I think. Because in this game, you don't have carte blanche to do whatever you want. It's like, here's between 3 and 6 or 8 cards that you'll at some point have manipulated.
Right, yeah.
Make the best you can with this stuff. And by the way, it might not work super well together.
Right.
Sorry, good luck.
As well as balancing that luck of, here's going to, over the course of the game, you're going to maybe touch 10 cards, you know?
Yeah, right.
And you don't know what 5 of those are going to be, you know? So it's also just, it's not all that information at the beginning. It is that luck and can have that feel of you lucked into something or you didn't. I think where it kind of balances that, though, in having the 2 forest, and so if you're able to pivot, then that and pivot quickly, and not get tied to a certain scoring mechanism, you know, or not mechanism, but card, then you can really benefit from that. And I think I did see that, obviously, more so in the higher player count games, to the point that someone would start over here. You took that card I needed. Okay, hold on. Maybe I can make this work in the other forest. In the lower player count games, you said it did become more mine versus yours.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I could say I liked one more than the other, you know? So I think it doesn't scale well would be wrong, and that's not what you said, but I'm saying I don't think that's right. I think it does scale well. It's just 2 different games almost, you know, 2 different ways to play, I think, and then 2 different things that you have to manage. You might have a little more control over your forest, where you'll get a little more meta with it and be like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on, I'm going to kind of lock a couple things over here, but then go over into that one. Actually, you know, you can kind of play against the player a little bit. Which you're not going to be able to do so much in a 3-player because there's too many hands in the pot. Yeah,
that's interesting. I do think I probably prefer it a hair more with say 3 than 2. Because again, it's just sort of like making lemonade feeling, you know, do the best you can with what you've got. I really do like that. And I love the locking a card mechanic.
Yeah.
I think that's the coolest part. I mean, yes, the scoring conditions on the cards is where the flavor of the game is. How do I pull this off? But that locking a card action is so interesting. The fact that everything is technically fluid until somebody goes and locks a card. It's like, oh, that's it. That card is in that forest.
Right. And that ups that tension quickly. She's like, oh, wait, they're starting to lock cards. They have points in hand. I don't
they're ready to
Hold
go.
on. I've got to, you know, I'm not going to see as many cards as I thought maybe. Or that deck is going out. I mean, as soon as that first card is locked, I feel like every play of this, the tension has been like, whoop, it just goes up. You know, it's that notch up every time, which I think is really fun.
I agree.
It's really cool to try and play that out, I think. I will say one of my negatives to the game, and this is coming from somebody who is not a big card player game, I wish that the cards were a little more clear, and I think you are not going to have this problem if you play a lot of games. I don't play poker. I don't like just a deck of card games, generally speaking. I think I don't know that I have interpreted the scoring right on all of my cards yet in a game, and I've had quite a few plays of this game because it is very quick. But you know, one of them will say pairs, and I'm so excited at the end of the game. It's like, yeah, I've got 3 pairs, and it's no, you have 3 sets of birds, and I'm like, so like but some of them talk specifically about birds, and others just use card terminology. So I wish it was a little bit more clear on that. You know, if it says pair of numbers or something like that. But again,
well, I mean, it is here
in the rule book. But
so
not,
sky is the cards in your hand, paired 2 cards with the same value, triplet, and a straight. And they give you a little example, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the straight even. I didn't have that problem, but yeah, I could see if you're not someone who uses terminology in ladder climbing games or poker, something paired, triplets, then yeah, the bird might throw you off, like a pair of birds, but... Yeah, it is in here.
Yeah, it's there. And so like I said, I think that's a me problem coming from someone who doesn't have this and doesn't really care for that style of games. it has constantly tripped me up. So I just wish that the language on the cards was a little more obvious for those of us that don't play these kind of games.
All right. So for me, I'm going to come down at an 8 for this one. I really do like it. I think it's probably one of my favorite pocket button shy games in these wallets. I think it's beautiful. Like I said, card quality, of course, always for them is superb. And I really do enjoy the game. It's very interesting. It's clever. It's got ratcheting tension that very quickly shoots up. And it's a fast game. I doubt I'll play this too much. I'm sorry. I doubt I'll play this too many times where I play a single time.
Right.
Because it is a 8 to 10, 12 minute game. I mean, it's so quick.
Yeah.
And immediately you're like, okay, I'll shuffle up and try that again. Let's see how it goes this time. So I really do like it quite a bit, and it gets an 8 from me.
Yeah. I'm coming in a little bit lower, and I was going back and forth between 7, 7.5, and I'm going to go with 7.5. And I think because this game really scratches a good itch for me, and this is one I can see we're going to a convention and we're going to sit down in an airport and play it, while we're sitting there waiting, or on the airplane and playing, something like that. I think it's a really good one it's really versatile. It can go in your back pocket, in your purse, whatever, and it is going to be so quick. You can sit there and play, like you said, 8 to 15 minutes maximum. But in 15 minutes, you might even be able to get multiple games in. Mm-hmm. And so the couple little hang-ups I had, again, that's going to go away with those multiple plays. It's like maybe the second play, I wouldn't have that problem. And it's not a big deal. And I never felt that even in those situations, it was like, oh, dang it. Okay, fine. I just didn't score this card. It didn't wreck the game necessarily, but it's really snappy. It's really pretty. I think that it has a good balance of being relaxing and engaging with the artwork, but yet also tense at the same time. And I like that balance of it. So yeah, this is definitely one that I would keep on hand to take in those situations where I had a couple minutes of downtime.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, there you go, everybody. That is A Forest Sky. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Zee Garcia.
I'm Camilla Cleghorn.
We will see you on the next one. Watch the skies, folks. Watch the skies.